welcome to Tuesday's episode of Picture Profit TV, which is live again. So next week, we're probably going to go back to pre-recorded, but for these 2 weeks, I wanted to go live because Snap Sell Succeed, which is my complete product photography course, is currently open for enrollment, which doesn't happen that often. So in honor of such a fantastic occasion, I'm choosing to go live on YouTube instead of do pre-recorded, so that if any questions come up or anything like that, I can be here to answer them. So if you're tuning in and you see and you hear me, please feel free to say hello. Today's topic is the number one reason that your handmade shop is struggling. Now, I bet you think I'm going to say product photos, right? You're not wrong. It is product photos, but there's more to it than just that. And this is something that we don't talk about a lot because I know that what the heck is my hair doing? Slightly better. So we know that product photos are super, super important. And I know that a lot of you are already struggling to get great product photos. So I hate to mention the fact that you need more than just a decent product photo, because I know you're already struggling so much, but this is something I want to talk about today. So there are a few things that I really need to talk about, get off my chest today to let you know that this is what's going on with your online shop. Because you're probably tuning in and you're experiencing one of a few things. Maybe you're brand new to running an online shop and you're having a really hard time getting traction. You're having a hard time getting buyers, getting those reviews that are so important. You know, you're having a hard time getting started, getting off the ground. You know, maybe you sold a couple to some friends of the family or to your family members, but that's kind of, you're stalled there. You may be in business and you're maybe you've been doing this for a while and you're still struggling, and you know it's because your product photos aren't great. That could be you. Additionally, your photos might actually kind of be okay. Like maybe they're not too bad. And maybe you were doing pretty well in business. And now all of a sudden you're starting to notice that your sales are slowing down. And when you look at your stats this time last year, you were selling way more, or maybe last holiday season, you sold a lot more than you did this past holiday season. You're feeling really discouraged because nothing's changed. You're doing everything the same. Why all of a sudden are you struggling? And that can also be because of your product photos. Even if your product photos are decent, you may not be using them effectively, and you may not be actually incorporating the key qualities you need to really draw in those sales. Having a good photo is important, but if you can take a photo that has decent lighting on a white background, that's great. You have conquered one step of great product photos. An important one, albeit, yes, but there are so many more pieces to this puzzle than just establishing a decent lighting setup, for example. I know that that can be a challenge for a lot of people. So sometimes people get the lighting situation figured out and they're like, yes, I'm done. I've done it. And then they start posting their photos and they're wondering why they're still not getting the traction. But my lighting is good. And, you know, my photos are sharp and all of that stuff. So why aren't I getting that kind of, you know, why aren't the sales starting to flow in, Amy? And it's truly because there's more to product photography than just nailing your lighting. Product photos are marketing tools. And if you're not treating them like marketing tools, then you're doing a disservice to yourself and your shop. Now, let's go through and talk about what you really need to be doing with your product photos. So here's some things that you may be experiencing. I'm just going to peek over here. I have 2 whole people watching this, which is fair because I actually just posted in my Facebook group to say that I was going live. I haven't done a huge promo about this because I have so much other things going on that I'm talking to people about and I don't want to overwhelm them. This video will be here for all of you in future when you can come and you check out my videos and you'll watch this one and you're going to get all of this great information. So what you may be experiencing is your photos are just bad. So this is the reality. Product photography is hard. Nailing your lighting is hard, and really hitting all of these key points is hard. So your product photos just might generally not be great. And that is a huge hurdle that you do have to work on and overcome. Now, one thing that I want to remind all of you is that if you are working hard on your handmade business, you're working on things like social media, and maybe you're on Etsy and you're really working on your SEO and your titles and your tags and your descriptions, and maybe you are trying to get your own website looking better with the right colors and the right logo and all of these pieces, and you're working so hard. So Unfortunately, if you don't have the product photos in place, all of those efforts are going to be for nothing, because you can have a gorgeous website. You can post on social media every day with engaging and interesting captions. But if your photos aren't good, still no one's going to buy, still no one's going to engage. It's going to bring down the entire quality. It's going to completely sabotage all of your efforts that you have been putting in so far. All of those other pieces are so, so important, and they shouldn't be neglected, but the product photos are really the cornerstone to all of that. You do need to have that piece in place for sure. Now, you may have photos that are all right, like I mentioned, but maybe you're using them in the wrong place. So there are certain strategies that you can use in product photography by putting the right photos in the right places. So we've talked about the different kinds of photos. There's close-up detail photos. There is, your kind of more plain general product, kind of, we call it the informative shot, that people just look at your product and there's no distractions. They just get to see what it's all about. There is style shots and lifestyle shots, AKA in-action shots, different angles and different, showing off different features and whatnot. There are a lot of different kinds of photos that you can share in your product listings. However, where you place them in your product listings is so important. The kinds of photos that you're sharing on social media is so important. Did you know that you shouldn't use the same photos for your product listing and just put them on social media and think that you're done? You can share some of those photos from your product listings on social media, but you don't only want to post those. There are two different purposes. I'm going to do a future video about that because I think it's something important to talk about. Your product listing photos and your social media photos serve two very different functions, and they should be different photos, or at least there should be, there could be some overlap for sure. But you don't want to just simply take your product listing photos and put them on social media and that's all you do on social media. So being strategic about what kinds of photos you're placing where, what order you're putting them in on your product listings, what photos you're going to use for something like your shop banner, for your header image on your website, for your profile photos, for your marketing, all of that stuff. All of those things are important to be strategic about what you are using and where. Now, you may have photos that aren't attracting people. This is another thing that people are encountering. So maybe your photos are all right. They're not bad. You got the all right lighting setup. Lighting's not too bad. Photo quality is decent, but you're not attracting people still. This is the thing, especially if you're selling on something like, okay, so if you're selling on Etsy and somebody searches for whatever you sell, let's say you sell keychains. Somebody searches for keychains and then all of these keychains come up. Now, people are really quickly browsing all these listings, looking at the thumbnails, making very snap decisions about which ones they're going to click on, which ones are interesting. You want to use a photo in that main listing image that's compelling in some way, that makes them want to click and see more. It should not include text. It should not include a watermark. And generally speaking, it should not be just a plain photo on a white background. Total snooze fest. People aren't going to click on that. There are so many other photos that are competing for their attention. They're probably not even going to see yours because it is just boring, just on a white background, super, super boring. So you can do yourself a huge favor by including more compelling photos as your main listing image. Okay, so there's a big tip for you, a big takeaway from this conversation. So that is something to think about. You may not be using photos that attract people. Same thing goes for social media. If you're just putting up that plain product photo on a white background, I can guarantee you're not going to get good engagement on social media with a photo like that. It screams catalog. People aren't interested in being sold to on social media. They want to connect. They want to learn about products that they might be interested in, but they don't want to feel like you're pushing a sale. If you're putting up a catalog-y photo, they are not going to want to engage with that. People are going to scroll on by. They, again, might not even see it. If you put a photo that's like a lifestyle photo or an action photo, or you've styled it in a way that's really, really interesting, that is going to encourage more engagement, more interest. It's going to stop people scrolling and that kind of thing. Okay, last but not least, you may not be attracting the right people with your product photos. So maybe you've got the styling, you're doing all the things, and you're getting stuff, things are in the right place, but are you actually styling and planning your photos and putting all these pieces into place for a great product photo with your ideal customer in mind? Have you considered that person? Because you're not selling to everyone on the internet. There's like however many people on the internet scrolling and shopping. I don't have an exact metric, but you know what I mean. There's a lot of people online shopping, and you're not selling to all of them. You need to be specific about the type of person who's likely to buy your products and really start making images for them with props that they're going to resonate with, backgrounds that they're going to be attracted to, lifestyle photos that look like their life, that make them want to slow down and stop and take a look. So if you haven't started to consider who your ideal customer is, you need to be doing that now, and you need to be incorporating product photos that really are made for them, that is going to make them stop and take a second look specifically. I actually have a class called Meet Your Market Masterclass where that's exactly what I teach. I teach how to identify your ideal customer, where to find them, and how to create images that they'll be into. It is currently a bonus for Snap Sell Succeed. It is part of the ultimate masterclass bundle that I just announced yesterday as a last minute bonus for Snap Sell Succeed. So it's very exciting. Really thrilled to be including that in Snap Sell Succeed because it's such an awesome piece. There is a lecture in Snap Sell Succeed on your ideal customer and brand consistency, but this just really takes it a whole step farther. It takes it a step deeper. So speaking of Snap Sell Succeed, it is currently open for enrollment, like I mentioned, but only until tomorrow night. So if you are catching this after February 19th, 2020, then you have missed the boat this time at least, but there will be future openings, of course. Now, Snap Sell Succeed doesn't open that often, which is why I make it a point to make sure that as many people know that it's open as possible, because I can't tell you how many times the doors close and I get people coming to me and saying, oh my gosh, I missed it. Can you let me in? And unfortunately, when the doors are closed, the doors are closed. I'm focusing on my new students. The group is very busy in the beginning, trying to get everyone straightened away, answering their questions, making sure that they feel supported and that they're overcoming any challenges that they have. So I want everyone to know that this is your opportunity to join right now. I also introduced a brand new payment plan yesterday, 12 monthly payments of $55, because I want Snap Sell Succeed to be as accessible for handmade sellers as possible. And I do not want cost to be something that stands in the way of you taking great product photos and seeing the success in your business that I know you are working so hard for. I want to enable that success for you. I do not want cost to be a barrier for you. So I have introduced that new payment plan, sweet new bonus. Nothing left to do but enroll now, guys. It's going to be so fun. Already my new students who just enrolled last week are seeing some tremendous things happen already, and it's so exciting. So you can find all the details about Snap Sell Succeed at www.amytakespictures.com/SSS. If you're there and you have any questions while you're looking around, this little chat box in the bottom, you can type in a message. I am personally at the end of that chat box, and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. That's it for today, my friends. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you get a notification every time I go live, and I'll see you next week.